All right. Hi, everyone, and welcome to our third Leader to Leader Sharing Circle. Tonight we will be talking about Take Action Projects and Journeys. And before we start tonight, I just wanted to mention that if you have any questions, you can type into the chat box on the right-hand side of your screen, located on your toolbar. You can, we also have a handout available tonight. If you want to refer to it, it's just our PowerPoint. You could either print it out or you can save it to your computer to refer to later. And you can also find that on the right-hand side of your screen on your toolbar. So tonight on the panel, we have myself, Melissa Ilias, the Program Coordinator for Service Unit and Troop Support. We have Linda Kalish, Director of Program. We have Kari Kaplan, Director of Membership Support for Regions 1 and 4. And we're really lucky tonight to have 4 longtime Girl Scout volunteers who have agreed to come on and share their experiences and advice about Take Action Projects and Journeys with you. So we have Beth Roth, we have Mary Schaefer, we have Wendy Yu, and we have Carol O'Connell.
Melissa,
yes.
Can you check and see? I can't type to everybody. Can you ask them if they see the screen? Because I only see the panelists are only seeing the white screen, not the PowerPoint.
I can't type then, but I don't see the PowerPoint. Oh, hold on.
It's okay. We have, if we can't, we'll just...
Hold on. Does that work?
Yay! Yay! Okay.
All right, everybody. Okay, so tonight, before we start, I just want to go over the schedule for the 2016-2017 year for the upcoming Leader to Leader webinars. So on December 19th, we'll be talking about startup cookie sale advice for first-year troops and life skills. That does not replace the normal product sales cookie training, so they're 2 separate things. On January 9th, we will be talking about challenging adult behaviors and conflict resolution within the troop. On February 13th, we'll be talking about higher awards and money-earning activities. On March 20th, we'll be talking about STEM and other activities, as well as ceremony planning. On April 17th, we'll be covering keeping girls motivated and older girl activities. And we've added in for May 15th a topic. We'll be talking about girls with special needs. But the second topic is still open to suggestions. So if you guys think of anything that you'd like to hear about, we'd love to hear from you. So our first presenter tonight is Beth Roth, and she lives in Cheshire. She's been living in Cheshire for the last 11 years. She works full-time as a research scientist and has been involved in Girl Scouts since she was a brownie. And she stayed in Girl Scouts throughout high school in southeastern Massachusetts, where she earned her Gold Award. And in college and grad school, she volunteered in an annual event where she was introduced to the Gold Award Committee chairperson for Connecticut, and has been on that committee for the last 13 years. And this year, she's starting her first troop, and her daughter is Daisy. So, Beth, whenever you're ready.
Okay, great. Thanks, Melissa.
Thank you.
I'm just going to start off our discussion tonight giving you a general overview of Take Action projects and discussing how some of the key aspects, important aspects of them, and how they differ from service projects. So Take Action projects that we're going to be talking about tonight are for all levels of Girl Scouts, and they can be adjusted to be age appropriate. And Take Action projects are part of every journey. So for every journey that you do, from Daisies through Ambassadors, the final portion of that is a Take Action project. And then also for the higher older girl awards, bronze, silver, and gold all require Take Action projects as well. So we can move on, Melissa?
Yes.
Okay, so Now, I think all of us are familiar with service projects. Girl Scouts do these all the time. Our service unit just had one last weekend where we went and helped out at the local church for their cleanup day because the church allows us to use their facilities quite a bit, so we went and we helped them with that. And a service project is something that it's a one-time effort that it meets an immediate need. The church needed the yard cleaned, they needed the leaves cleaned up, they needed the beds raked to prepare for the winter. So we went and spent a few hours and took care of that project. It was an immediate need, it was short term. It's going to need to be done again in a year, and that is something that we'll probably do again. A take action project is going to identify a root cause. And what we mean by that is we want to find out, you could ask the question, you can say people are not eating healthy food. Okay, so that's an issue, but what's the cause of that? Why are they not eating healthy food? So you're going to, when we're working with girls, I always ask them to say why. Why are they not eating healthy? Well, maybe they don't have time, or maybe they don't have the money, or maybe they don't know how to make healthy food. And then you take one of those. They don't have time. Why don't they have time? Well, everyone has busy lives. Then, okay, well, what? And then you think, okay, everyone's really busy. They don't have time to make healthy food. So then you want to think of, well, how can we make it easier for people to cook healthy? How can we help them? And so you're going to want to think of, you keep going to that and you try to find this root cause, the reason why something is happening. Keep asking those questions. And once you find that root cause, then you want to create your take action project wants to be something that meets a long-term need. You don't want to make them one meal and so then they eat one healthy meal. You want to help them learn how to cook healthy for themselves, how to cook healthy in an efficient way that doesn't take a lot of time. Maybe that is creating a cookbook and of meals that take 15 minutes that you can give out to people, showing them how to eat healthy. So that's what we're talking about is a take action project is going to identify a root cause and meet a long-term goal. It's not going to be a one-time thing. And especially with the Older Girl Awards and with the journeys as well, the things that we want to think about is we want it to be measurable. You want to think about how you are going to determine if the project was successful. Is it sustainable? Is it something that is going to last beyond the time that you're doing the project? Is it something that will carry on past your time working on it? Is it shared? Did you tell the community about it? Did you bring in a network of people to work with you on it? So you want the more people that you get involved in your issue, the more likely it is to be sustainable and have a measured effect. And then finally is global. And on the one hand, global can mean does it reach out to a large group of people, to people all over the world. But it doesn't have to mean that. It can also be you can also think of it another way. The issue you're having in your community is likely happening in other places. So did you do some research? Did you find out what others in other parts of the world or other parts of the country or even the other side of the state are doing to address this issue? You don't have to reinvent the wheel entirely. You can look and find out what others are doing and take some of their best practices and incorporate them, or at least the ones that are fitting to your community and to your need in your project. So those are the criteria that we're going to be thinking about. Okay, to move on. Okay, so the steps to a good take action project. I've touched upon this a little bit, but you want to identify the asset or the need in the community. We really strongly encourage the girls to go out in the community, to ask questions, to talk to their church or their town government, to the school, the different places in the community. One good way to start is to actually make a map of the community and all the different things in it. And then you can sort of point out who would be the person you want to ask about needs in the community. If you have an idea, sometimes you might have an idea of something that might need to be done, but you want to go out and see if it's really truly necessary. If what's in your mind as a need in the community truly exists by asking the people who are involved in that aspect of the community. And we want the girls to reach out beyond their circle. So we want them to meet new people. We don't want them to just ask their aunt or their troop leader or people they know. You need to reach out and ask the people who are going to be the best expert in that field, and get help from other people, because you want to get different ideas, and the more people you talk to, the more likely you're going to come up with a solution to the problem that's going to really make a difference. The other thing that's important is that the girls make the decision about what they're going to do on the Take Action. So this is really a girl-led project. And I know at the younger ages there's going to be more involvement of the leaders at a younger age, that that has to happen. But we really want, as much as possible, to encourage the girls to be the leaders of the Take Action project. And that is going to help them progress, and it's going to make it easier if they start at a young age and then are doing this and using these terms: take action, root cause, the four measurable, sustainable, global, sharing. If we start with that at a young age, then as they move forward toward their higher awards, it's going to feed in very nicely. And ultimately, with the Gold Award project, they're going to be working independently. So on the Journeys and the Younger Girl Awards, the Silver and the Bronze, they can work as a team, but with Gold, they're going to be doing this independently. So we want to build on that as they go along. Taking on that, you know, they need to learn the steps to carry out the action plan. They're going to assist with the project logistics. And they're going to take action alongside community members. You don't expect in any case that the girl is going to necessarily do every step of the project. It's important to realize that there are people in the community that have the same goals and support the same issues that the girls support, and it's important for them to bring those people in and to bring in experts where they need, or extra people to help them where they need it. We don't expect them to do every single portion of the project, but they need to be in charge, and they need to be running the project and planning the steps and carrying out the logistics. But they can bring in whoever they need, and the more people, the better. And then finally, they want to reflect on their action and assess what they gained from it. You know, what went right, what went wrong. If they ran a program or a workshop for younger girls in the community or boys in the community, like, they want to think about, well, what went right and what went wrong? How can I change it? What can I do next time to make it better? Or what can I pass on to the community to make it more sustainable? And then finally, we want them to celebrate their accomplishments, to write it up in the newspaper, to, if it's an award, an Older Girl Award, have a ceremony and invite the community to celebrate with them. Okay. And then this is just a quick slide to give you some examples of a service project versus a take action project. So like I said, if you look at the service projects, make a first aid kit. That's a one-time thing. You're going to make a set of 10 or 20 first aid kits. You're going to give them to a hospital or a nursing home or whatever needs it, and that's it. You've done your one-time duty, and when they're gone, they're on their own to replenish them. There's no long-term maintenance there. But a take action project, on the other hand, would be maybe promoting healthy living through a community health fair, where you're reaching out and giving people in the community the knowledge they need to be healthier. You can hold a food drive. Holding a food drive is a service project. That's a one-time event. But if you start a community garden, that can provide fresh fruit and vegetables to the homeless, or to a food pantry all summer. If you start a recycling project, that, you know, it can last as long as there's someone there to take care of it. But if the girls do it for a few months and then they stop, it will stop. Whereas if you create a workshop and teach others about water conservation, that's going to get it out to more of the community and to make a bigger difference. you can donate items to an animal shelter. That's a service project. Organizing or a volunteer recruitment and supply drive for animal shelters. That's going to be a more long-term project. If you organize a recruitment volunteers, you can set up those volunteers to come in once a month and to help out the shelter. You can set up, instead of setting up just donating items, if you set up a yearly drive to then every year that will be replenished, the things that they need at the animal shelter. Again, donating books, it's a one-time project. Take action. You're organizing a tutoring session at a local elementary school. You're going to with senior citizens to help students learn to read. So again, this is a multiple step project. Hopefully will continue in the future. So those are just some examples, and there are a lot more like that.
Cool. Does anybody have any questions before we move on to the next topic? Anybody? Feel free to put it in the question box if you do. It doesn't look like anybody has any questions right now, but they might later, Beth. But thank you so much. That was really interesting. Okay, so our next presenter is Mary Schaefer. She lives in Mystic. She has 3 daughters. She's led 3 Girl Scout troops, and she started her first troop in 2014 and has had 12 years experience as a troop leader. She works full-time, and she's had experience with journeys at every Girl Scout level except for ambassadors. So, Mary, whenever you're ready.
Okay, thank you, Melissa. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, so I have, I'm currently leading 3 troops. As Melissa introduced, I have 12th grade ambassadors. Currently, 9th grade. I want to say when my ambassadors were in 6th grade, so they had just become cadets. And I was just kind of asked to give, my thoughts on journeys, what they do well, and maybe where there are some challenges. So as Beth explained, there is a process to doing a Take Action project, which is ultimately the culmination of your journey experience. And they do that very well. They're really set up and designed to lead girls through the process as you progress through the journey on how to successfully do a Take Action project. So as Beth explained, that process is pretty much, start by researching a topic, really using your community to network and see what resources are out in the community. There's, as Beth mentioned, there's a lot of experts out there who are maybe share the same mission that you do and can really help you along your way. The brainstorming process, and then narrowing down that issue to figure out what is the root cause of the problem, what could you really focus on to help solve that problem, and then figure out how to address it. And really this process, although it's great for, for the girls in terms of their journeys and their higher awards, bronze, silver, and gold, it's really a life skill. And I find that I use this process in my place of work and just generally in life, when you're set out to try and do something, to really kind of plan it out well. This is a really great process for girls to learn at an early age. You can go to the next slide.
Yep, I got it. We actually have a question. She says she's a troop leader to 4th grade juniors. The girls chose a muse. I have been reviewing the adult guide along with the girl book. When in the process do the girls use their own girl book, before or after a session? I think we'll keep going with the presentation, and hopefully that question will get answered. If not, we'll address it a little later. Okay.
Hi, Melissa. I think that's a good idea because I think Wendy's probably going to discuss that a little bit.
Yeah. Okay, sorry,
Okay,
Mary.
so continuing, no problem. So continuing on, it's interesting the question involved in Muse because I was going to actually mention that journey. So some of the feedback that I've gotten on the journeys, and this has come from the girls, is that sometimes girls will say they're boring. And that can be the case, depending on what topic you choose. And I started battling this the first time I did a journey because, honestly, I just pulled one off the shelf and said, okay, girls, here's what we're doing. These are the new journeys that Girl Scout Council rolled out. And that probably wasn't the best way for me to go about doing it, but I didn't really have a lot of education going in. They were brand new, so a leader-to-leader sharing circle like this really wasn't available to me at the time. And it's great that we're doing this. There are so many choices out there at each Scout level, so it's really important that, as the leader, take those options to the girls, show them what's available for their level, and kind of, you know your girls pretty well, so figure out what excites them. Maybe they're a real science-y group of girls, or maybe they just, love drama and they're always, want to dress up and pretend and act out and do skits, which was the case with my girls. But choose something they're going to be excited about, because if they're not excited about it from the beginning, it's going to be a very long journey. So, for example, my juniors, they're 5th grade now, but last year we did a muse, and part of the reason we chose that one was because they were all excited about the fact that it really allows you to explore the roles that you play in life and explore the roles of other people. And, there was a lot of opportunity for drama, the good drama. Yeah. And they were excited about that. The other thing I wanted to say was that the book, in a way, especially the leader book, I found, can be a bit overwhelming. Don't feel like you have to follow the book word for word. Don't feel like you have to do every single activity as it's printed in the book. And I found that, using the girl book and the leader book together, they sometimes, there's information in one book that's not in the other. So I've sometimes found that I'll do a journey session. I won't even use my leader book. I'll just pick pages out of the girls' book, and we'll focus on those that evening. But don't be afraid to do something different either. You can supplement. If you think of an activity, or the girls think of an activity that might lend itself well to what the journey is focusing on at that time. Like, for example, the girls had a session very early into the Amuse journey where they were exploring their roles, and they had made these paper dolls where they dressed them up as to the different roles they have in life. So maybe they play soccer, and maybe they do gymnastics, and they're a student, and they take care of their pets at home or whatever. They make these paper dolls. That's an activity in the book. But something they were excited to do was try on some different hats, see what it was like to be somebody different. So they actually created a character from everything from how this person dressed, their name, their hobbies, what they did for a living, if they were going to be a grown-up character, if they were going to be a child character, whatever it was. And we planned a dinner. And they came to this dinner as this new character, and they stayed in character the whole night and got to pretend to be somebody else. And then we reflected on it at our next meeting, and they had so much fun doing that activity. And again, not in the book, something we just came up with, but it was a lot of fun, and the girls really got a lot out of it. So don't be afraid to think outside the box, get creative, or talk to some other, leaders in your area or in a forum like this, and see what other people have done and what's worked well. The other thing that I wanted to suggest also, and I just went on my first journey weekend this September, and I went with one of my senior girls. Council offers these journey weekends, and I have to say it was fantastic. And especially if you're in a case where maybe your troop is really small, or if you have older girls, maybe you don't have, a very large troop. Sometimes, the girls get really busy when they get older, the troops get smaller, or maybe they just don't have the time to commit to doing a journey, and their interests at the older girl level lie elsewhere. So you might, it might be hard for you to do a journey with 1 or 2 girls. Doing a journey weekend, Council brings in, all of the resources to network with from the community, and really does a great job of getting all the way through the material in a weekend, except for your Take Action project. But the girls leave with some ideas on what they might do for their Take Action project. And at the same time, they take the adults and they take them into their own separate sessions, and they go through all of these aspects about what's the difference between a service project and a take action project. They even do a gold award webinar for the older girl journeys so that we as leaders and parents can learn about that process. So I know I'm going to be looking for those journey weekends in the future because I think it was fantastic, and it really allowed you to allow somebody else to kind of help you put that whole journey process together if you were a little unsure about how to go about it, or again, in my case, I just had one girl that really wanted to work on a journey. So it was a really great opportunity for her to meet with other girls from the area and do this journey with them.
Cool. Thank you, Mary. Does anybody have any specific questions for Mary before we move on to the next topic? If you do, just feel free to put it in the question box on the right-hand side of your screen. I don't think we have any questions right now, but I'll let you know if we get some later. Thank you, Mary. Okay, so our next presenter is Wendy Yu. She lives in Greenwich. This is her 9th year as a troop leader, and this is her first year that she'll be a co-service unit manager. She has a troop of 11 senior Girl Scouts in 10th grade, and 8 of those girls have earned their silver award, and most are beginning their gold, which is impressive. So Wendy, whenever you're ready.
Hi, everyone. Tonight, I'm going to focus a little bit on talking about the impact on the girls that these journeys can have. Like some of the presenters previously, I too went to one of the journey weekends, and it was really very revealing to me. I had done a journey with the girls without having really done any counseling or training with the journeys, and it was a very challenging, difficult process. But then having gone and gotten some training on how to use the journeys properly, it really was a game changer, and it was such a journey, knowing and understanding how to use the materials with the girls. So what impact does a journey have on a girl? First and foremost, they learn and explore new ideas. Regardless of which journey they select, they're going to be delving into areas that they maybe hadn't thought about or considered before, and it's just kind of opening and broadening their point of reference on things. So depth and growth is really important. Another thing is they're meeting new people when they're on their journeys. Sometimes they may be guest speakers, it may be people that you go to visit, but for a lot of times the girls maybe haven't had an opportunity to develop their leadership skills in reaching out to people within their community. And doing these journeys is kind of like a way of hand through the process, because as they advance further on with higher awards, they really need to have those skills to be able to deliver like an effective silver or gold award. So the journeys, you know, really are impactful in helping them to develop these skills that maybe they've never been challenged or asked for. And leadership skills are something that need to be learned. And these journeys are a great gentle way of guiding them. On the next slide, I would kind of think of like a journey as sort of a road trip. Each session is going to be a stop towards like your final destination. And it's important as a leader that you get the materials ahead of time and that you look at it, because there is the book for the girl, and then there is the separate adult guide that goes along with it. Don't make the mistake I did the first time I did this. I only focused on the girls' booklet, thinking, oh, that's what the girls are using, that's what we'll work with. And I really focus as much on the adult guide. The adult guide is really where the resources are for you as a leader to guide them on the journey. There can sometimes be a disconnect between the girls' book and the leader book. The girls' book, you should look at as a nice supplement to the journey that you're doing, but it is not the journey, the book itself, the girls' book. You really, as a leader, need to take the time to go through the adult leadership journey book that corresponds with the journey that you're on, and it will be so much more impactful. And the materials in the book are organized in a manner that they're broken down into sections. As one of the previous presenters said, you can take the materials and adapt them as you like to your group. but at least it kind of gives you a bit of a roadmap. There may be some sections that you won't think are relevant to your group, but then again, you may pull something out of there that you've never considered or thought about before. So I highly recommend as a leader that you take the time to go through the Leadership Journey booklet, because it will make you more confident as a leader in kind of guiding them along this. And the most important thing is girls learn by doing. They take skills that they learn along this journey, and you're ultimately working towards a goal of a take action project. And all of those experiences that they're going to learn working along on this journey are going to be so incredibly empowering to them when they go on for higher awards, because they're going to have to draw on those experiences and things that they learned during that journey to bring to life, silver or gold awards that they're looking to do. Next slide. So again, just a couple tips to hit on again. Don't make the mistake of thinking that the girls' book and the leaders' book are similar. They are not. Again, the girls' book is a lovely supplement, but you really need to look at the leader's guide as a way of kind of guiding them along this. Take the time to make sure your girls understand the difference between a take action and a community service-based project. It was spoke a lot at the beginning of this presentation, but it's really important that you do that. And there are tools and resources available that you can get through Girl Scouts to help you kind of drive that in. Handouts, there's flashcards. If you ask your marketing manager, I'm sure they can direct you to that. That can really help you to teach the girls between the different themes. And another important thing is you don't need to reinvent the wheel here. You'll find many journey support resources online, and as I said, through your marketing manager. Actually, if you Google some of these journeys, you'll actually find some interesting websites of people who have already done these journeys and ideas. There's actually even Facebook groups that are specific to some of these journeys. I would use those merely as an additional resource. I wouldn't use them solely as any sort of tool to deliver a journey. Keep to the leader manual for that, but there's certainly things that are, I found, enriching and good additional things to look at. And then my last tip is make sure you allocate enough time to do this section. It's more meaningful and helpful in the long run. There's a lot of detail within the sessions, and again, you can customize it to your group, but don't try to rush these journeys too much. Give them the appropriate time and figure out, maybe you'll do 2 sessions at a group, or maybe each time you meet you do a session. Customize it to what you need, but don't rush it, because everything that's produced along this journey is really going to be so valuable to them when they draw upon those experiences, again, working on their higher awards.
Does anybody have any specific questions that they want to ask Wendy? If so, you can type in your question box on the right-hand side of your screen. Let me see. It doesn't look like we have any questions right now, but I'll let you know if there are any. Thank you so much, Wendy. That was great. Okay, so our last presenter for tonight is Carol O'Connell, and she's been involved with Girl Scouts of Connecticut for over 15 years, beginning as the leader of her daughter's troop. She's held every position on the service unit team in Ridgefield, including SUM. She's volunteered at the council level as a delegate at the 2014 National Convention, and most recently she's participated on the GSFCT strategic planning team. So Carol, whenever you're ready.
Sure. Okay. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes. Perfect. Great. Okay, so lastly, this is a bit of an interesting concept, and I think that's why I was asked to speak. 2 years ago, Ridgefield ran a townwide journey, and I was kind of behind it. I was phasing out as service unit manager, but understood a lot of the challenges that our older girls faced, and we actually, it was meant to address Juliet's, so girls who are in the program individually, maybe hoping to do a gold award at one point, probably in high school, so they want to get to the gold, but of course you have to do the journeys. And as it was pointed out, doing journey for a single girl, doing a journey is a very boring kind of exercise. There's no joy in it really at all. Although I think that journey weekends are really the absolute way to go, and I'm going to be promoting that a lot more. But I knew a number of the girls who were Juliets, and I wanted to do something for them. So I thought I will run a journey for them. But then when I mentioned it at a leaders meeting, there was, we did this at the senior level, so 9th, 10th grade. There were 3 other leaders that jumped up out of their seats and said, we need to do a journey, but we're uncomfortable with it. If you lead us, we'd like to do it all as a group. So we had a real heart-to-heart meeting. So I'm going to follow along with the screen. So forming a journey committee. So I was the adult volunteer who I just acted as a project manager. I tried to stay out of the nitty-gritty or the emotions or any of the other stuff going on. I just knew what had to be accomplished, and my job was to keep people on task. Mostly, I didn't really work with the girls as much as with the leaders, making sure they understood what was expected of them. And so I had identified an anchor group of 2 to 3 troops whose leaders were committed, and then they understood the journey, and it wasn't going to be not necessarily a shortcutted thing, that they wanted it and their girls wanted it. So I would say we had basically 4 adults, myself and at least 3 other adults. We actually had 3 troop leaders, and I assigned another troop leader to be the leader for Juliet's. So we were in quite good shape. That was that 3rd bullet. An adult volunteer, because as much as you're doing a town-wide journey, it's not quite like if you had all Juliet's. There's no affiliation, and everything would go smoothly. But admittedly, when you've had troops that have been together since elementary school, they tend to want to work in their little silos, and that is just a fact. Let's see. So, right, the last bullet, we had a pre-meeting, and we went through, and we actually identified the journey. In this case, there's a lot of decisions are going to be made after the fact, but we had a lot of research to do, and so we just fell upon the journey, and it was Mission Sisterhood. So, so next slide. Okay, so and we picked it just like the Amaze journey. There are just certain journeys that are going to attract the girls' attention, especially at the older level, and Mission Sisterhood has a lot of rich materials that we thought would satisfy everyone. So girl kickoff meeting, and this was quite a bear of a thing to do, but we had about 30 to 40 girls in a room, but we did a lot of planning. So use icebreakers. We just had to break down those silos. We mixed girls up. We did a little bit of games, little fun activities. We did giveaways and things of that nature. We created rules for the group, etc. And an important thing is, how did we start to narrow down what on earth we were going to do for the journeys? We used, I love affinity exercises, sticky notes, things of that nature. We printed out some of the materials. We asked the girls to bring a girl's guide book along with them. We covered all the possible topics that could be explored in Mission Sisterhood. And then we got them to work on sticky notes, putting down the kind of thoughts, community groups they wanted to work with, the topics they wanted to work with. And we built those circles. And this is really not, this is somewhat unconventional in terms of journeys, so maybe it's not for everybody, but we basically brought it down to, there were 3 troops and 1 Juliet troop, so to speak. We knew there'd be 4 working groups, and we picked out 4 broad categories of all of the topics to be covered. We really kind of focused just on 4 of them because of the task at hand. And so from there we created a timeline with everybody in the group, and basically the concept was the group, so 4 groups and 4 broad topics, Generally, it fell upon the troops kind of stayed together, so each troop was assigned a subject matter or a topic they were going to work on. Their leader was in charge of making sure that they got together whatever needed to take, because they were given a deadline as to when the troops were going to come together and they would present their materials, or we would go on a field trip, or whatever that group deemed was the best way to convey all of their learnings. So again, we made sure that at least once a month, so we set in stone, we took the first month of a break because everyone needed to kind of start working on it, and then by that second month we met monthly as a huge group, and in each of those meetings the group who had done the research and work either took us on the trip, brought in a community leader, explored the topics, exercises, and these were long meetings. They were 2 hours long, each of those, because it was really only getting together once a month. Let's see, I think I've covered most of that. Again, field trips are a great way to get the girls out and about. The third broad bullet was that the groups were divided up by interests, but that in fact the logistics, initially there was a lot of cross-pollination where girls from different troops had interest in the same topic, and admittedly it would have been nice if we could have broken down the troop silos, but because the troops had to meet and do work, they tended to have their own set schedule. Different girls and troops were comfortable meeting at the same time, so the work groups wound up being troops. But I would say if you're working with Juliets across the town, that would be wonderful for girls to obviously work with girls that they've never explored before. I think that would be, and particularly matching girls with their interests. You're obviously, when it comes to journeys, going to do so much better and get such a better result when a girl's engaged with a topic. But I think overall, when it came to Mission Sisterhood, we had some wonderful areas of discussion. We've had women in media, we've had body image, things that are pretty hot topics. So I would safely say that every group did a fantastic job and thoroughly enjoyed what they were doing. I think the last couple of points would be so how we came to the resolution that because the troops were presenting, basically, even though one troop did not work on, do actual work and research on girls in media, because of the learning, the shared learning, that counted as as covering that requirement. That's just how it rolled. The last thing, if you're going to do a townwide journey, the Take Action project has to be quite ambitious. And that actually is fun, and it's very empowering, because if you think, and Beth had described what Take Action involves, and every one of those girls really has to have a part of it. So for Mission Sisterhood, we did an all-day expo where we invited brownies for the morning and juniors for the juniors for the morning and cadets in the afternoon, and they literally almost did the journey that the girls experienced, because each group had rooms set up and they literally taught what they had learned again at a lower level, and they did a great job. They had to accommodate teaching juniors and cadets, which was really neat. And the last big thing, which the attention of council and Mary Barnaby and a great number of people there, we had a community-wide viewing of a movie called Misrepresentation, a super documentary, right on point for Mission Sisterhood. And so that was a huge success and really made the girls feel good. They got a lot of community publicity, a lot of press for it. So that was my experience with Townwide Journey.
Cool. Thank you so much, Carol. Does anyone have any questions about the townwide journey for Carol right now? It doesn't look like we have. It doesn't look like we have any questions right now, but we may later.
Mm-hmm.
So Linda, if you want to give the additional updates.
Yep. Okay. Before I say that, I just wanted to say thanks to Beth, Mary, Wendy, and Carol. I think Beth gave a really good synopsis of a take action project versus a service project. Take action projects, they're the heart of the journeys, right? So it's important to have that distinction. And as you can see from Mary and Carol and Wendy, like they all had different ways of doing the journey. So know that there's really, you're going to find the right way for you and your girls. And I think they hit on a really key points of having the girls choose it, having them be involved in choosing how they're going to do the take action project. And you could see how like Wendy might have followed, it sounded like Wendy followed the sessions a little bit more. Mary was more of a pick and choose what's going to work for my group. So there really is no wrong way to do it, or there really is no right way to do it. I would always say the wrong way to do it is just do the book and do session after session after session, just read to the girls and make them do homework. That would be the wrong way. But making it fit for your group is and being flexible, that's the right way to do it. So that said, I just wanted to give you a couple of the resources that we have out there on our website. The level basics guides talk about the journeys and break it down, talk about take action projects, so they're right on our website. The ladies mentioned journey weekends, so Breathe, Amuse, and So What are journey weekends that are coming up. We only do them when the weather is warm. We can use the tents, so that's why they're at that time of the season. And in case we have Brownie or Daisy leaders with us, they the leaders were referencing bronze, silver, and gold, and those are higher awards that older girls earn. And there always is a journey or two. There's a prerequisite before the girls can do those higher awards. So if you're a Daisy Brownie, you'll get there. It'll all be good. And we mentioned at So What there was a Gold Award workshop for the adults, an info session, and just know that if you're coming to a junior or a cadet when we do a bronze or a silver info session too, where the adults can get together and talk. Danny, who handles our Tech Bridge kits, wanted us to mention that some of the Tech Bridge kits, they're not created to do the whole journey or give, it doesn't have the activities for all of them, but they do have activities in them that support the journeys that are up on the website. So if you are interested at all in STEM and you want to, even with media or justice or bliss, there are STEM-based activities that are hands-on that are in the Tech Bridge kits that will help diversify your journey experience. And just in reference to the silver and gold, know that we have the webinars for silver are posted up online. They're not an interactive one, so those are always there to listen whenever you want to. And the Gold Award webinars, the dates that we have them are on our website as well, and those are interactive, so we do them live. But anybody interested in just finding out about silver or gold can take those webinars. You don't have to be going for that award right now. The other place to find out about Take Action projects would be at the Gold Award celebration. It's always the first Sunday in June, and we have an expo, so if you want to see what gold awardees and possibly silver awardees did for their projects, because really a Journey Take Action project is a baby step to one of the higher award Take Action projects, so it's a good experience to talk to the girls and find out how they went about their projects. And then if you were interested in higher awards, in February the Leader to Leader webinar will be focusing on those too. That's what I wanted to say. So if anybody has any questions from anyone, just put it into the chat box and we'll help you out.
I don't see any questions right now.
Oh, did we answer the question about the book, right? The leader guide and the girls book.
Yes.
So I think Wendy talked about how they don't really jive. They're not like a teacher's guide. They don't go hand in hand, but they complement each other. And so there are times like you would do like Mary did and take out an activity out of the girls book. And there are times that you'll pull information and activities out of the adult book. And I can say that when I first started with Journeys, girls would get the book. And I think it's just important for every girl to have a book, because even though you're not working in it as a troop all the time, I'm sure that the girls are going into it and doing the, reading the articles, doing the quizzes, and while they do that, they're learning more about the subject or more about learning together and being a team, part of a Take Action team.
All right, so I think that's all the questions. If anyone else has anything they want to mention, feel free to type it in really quick before we end. But before we end, I do want to say that we'd love to hear feedback about what you thought about this webinar. You can email program@gsfct.org and let us know. We apologize for the technical difficulties we had in the beginning. And if you ever think of another topic that you'd like to hear about, we'd also like to know about that too. So please let us know. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Does anyone have anything else they want to say? No? I just want to thank everyone for coming today.